You can buy the matching furniture, the neutral palette, the diffuser on the shelf, quietly puffing out lavender and calm. You can follow every rule the design blogs give you, and still something feels off. Still, the room feels tight in your chest instead of loose in your shoulders. So what if the real reason Japanese homes feel calm isn't what's inside them? What if it's what's missing? In the West, we fill space. We treat empty corners like problems to solve, shelves like invitations to stack. In Japan, that same emptiness is left alone, on purpose, as if it were furniture itself. Most people in the West never realize this is the actual rule, not the color, not the wood tones, the absence. And once you see it, you'll never walk into your own living room the same way again. Here's what's coming. Number 2 is the object rule. The reason Japanese homes only ever seem to have one of everything, never 3, never a backup just in case. Number 5 is the light rule. And this one might surprise you because it has nothing to do with brightness. In the West, we chase more light. In Japan, they protect the shadows. And then there's the one rule at the very end, the rule every other item on this list secretly depends on. Most people miss it completely. They redecorate for years and never touch it. But once you understand it, everything else you've tried before will finally make sense. Stay until the end because that last one changes how you see everything before it. Number 1. The empty corner. Think about your own home for a second. That corner by the window, the one near the bookshelf. Chances are something lives there. A plant, a lamp, a stack of magazines you keep meaning to read. In the West, empty space feels like failure, like the room isn't finished yet, like you haven't tried hard enough. In Japan, a traditional room often keeps one corner completely bare. No furniture, no decoration, nothing waiting to be noticed. And it's not because the room is unfinished, it's because that emptiness is doing something. This is the Japanese concept of negative space. It means the silence between notes matters as much as the notes themselves. The pause in a conversation carries as much weight as the words. In a room, is the corner that holds nothing, so your eyes and your mind finally have somewhere to rest. Your home isn't missing furniture, it's missing rest, and the empty corner you keep trying to fill might be the exact spot your whole nervous system needs to breathe. Because a room that gives your eyes nowhere to land gives your mind nowhere to land either. Next, this same restraint shows up somewhere even more surprising in how many of each object a Japanese home is willing to keep. Number 2, one object, one purpose. Open your kitchen drawer, the real one, the messy one. There's probably a garlic press you've used twice, a gadget that only slices avocados, a backup can opener in case the first one ever fails you. In the West, we buy for possibility. We keep things because they might be useful someday for some version of life we haven't lived yet. In Japan, a well-kept home works differently. One knife, one teapot, one pair of scissors sitting exactly where it belongs. Not because Japanese households can't afford more, because more was never the goal. This is Danshari, the discipline of refusal. It's not simply throwing things away, it's the ongoing practice of declining what you don't need before it ever enters your home in the first place. Refusal, not disposal. A daily no said quietly before the clutter has a chance to arrive. Here's what nobody talks about. Every extra object you own isn't just taking up space on a shelf, it's taking up space in your attention. A small tax paid every single time your eyes pass over it. One object, one purpose isn't about owning less for its own sake. It's about giving your mind fewer things to manage before breakfast. And this same discipline shows up somewhere far more unexpected, in what Japanese homes are willing to let stay imperfect, visibly, on purpose. Number 3. The imperfect bowl, left visible. You know the instinct. The chipped mug goes to the back of the cabinet. The scratched table gets a runner thrown over it. The cracked vase quietly disappears into a donation box. In the West, damage means something has failed, and failure gets hidden or replaced. In Japan, that same cracked bowl might sit on the table, front and center, mended with gold, not covered up, not disguised. The crack isn't hidden, it's traced in gold lacquer, so it catches the light every time you reach for your tea. This is Wabi-Sabi, finding peace and beauty in imperfection and simplicity. It teaches that something isn't ruined because it's aged or cracked or worn soft at the edges. It's honest, and honest things carry a kind of beauty polished perfection never quite manages. And if you're watching this, you already know what I mean. You have a version of that bowl somewhere in your own life, a worn armchair, a scarred wooden table, something you've been meaning to replace, when really it might be the most honest thing in the room. The West spends a fortune trying to look flawless. Japan spends none of it and somehow feels more at peace. But here's what nobody talks about. The next item isn't about what Japanese homes display, it's about what they deliberately leave out. Before we go further, here's a warning. What we're about to cover next, most people in the West have never even considered it. Number 4, the furniture that's missing. Think about your storage, the closet organizers, the stackable bins under the bed, the extra dresser you bought specifically to hold the things that didn't fit in the first one. In the West, when we run out of space, the solution seems obvious. Buy more storage, more shelves, more containers, more places to put things so they're technically put away. In Japan, many homes do the opposite. They keep storage furniture deliberately small, sometimes barely enough for a season's worth of belongings, not because space is scarce, though sometimes it is, because the limit itself is the point. When there's no room for more bins, you have to decide what actually stays. The storage doesn't grow to match your belongings. Your belongings shrink to match the storage. The furniture isn't missing by accident. It's missing on purpose, as a quiet, built-in form of restraint. Most people never realize their clutter problem isn't a storage problem. It's a permission problem. Permission to keep buying containers instead of making decisions. And this is the part that changes how you see everything else, because the empty corner, the single object, the imperfect bowl, they're all protected by the same missing furniture. Next, we turn from what fills your rooms to what fills or empties your like. Before we go further, if any of this is landing, take a moment right now. Think of the one room in your home that's always fully lit. The one with the overhead light you flip on the second you walk in, even at noon. Number 5, shadow is not the enemy. In the West, brighter is better. We install overhead lighting in every room, and if a corner falls into shadow, we treat it like something to fix, another lamp to buy, another switch to flip. Bright rooms are supposed to feel welcoming, cheerful, awake. In Japan, traditional homes protect their shadows instead. Paper screens soften sunlight before it ever touches the floor. Lamps sit low, casting warm pools of light instead of flooding a room edge to edge. The dim corners aren't a flaw in the design, they're the design. This is In-A Rai-san, the praise of shadows. It's the belief that soft, dim light doesn't create sadness, it creates calm. Harsh brightness keeps the mind alert, almost on guard, while shadow gives it permission to finally settle. You've been living with that overhead light for years, treating it as comfort, when really it might be quietly keeping you on edge. The rest of the world missed this entirely, chasing brightness when what they actually needed was somewhere soft to rest their eyes. Next, we step through the one space in a Japanese home most Westerners walk straight past without a second thought. Number 6. The threshold ritual. Picture how you enter your own home. Keys down, bag dropped on a chair, shoes still on, phone still in hand, the noise of the day still running in the background while you walk straight to the kitchen. In the West, there's rarely a clear line between outside and inside. The day just follows you in. In Japan, that line is built directly into the architecture. It's called the genkan, a small sunken entryway just inside the front door, where shoes come off before another step is taken. It's not just practical, it's a pause built into the floor itself. The genkan works as a psychological reset point. Outside stays outside. The stress of traffic, of emails, of everyone who needed something from you today, it gets left at that threshold, along with your shoes. What crosses into the home is only you. Most people never realize their home has no equivalent, no pause, no line. So the tension of the outside world just keeps walking, room to room, right along with them, never actually set down anywhere. You don't need architecture to borrow this. You need one small ritual at your own door, a breath, a pause, a shoes-off moment that tells your mind the day out there is finished and the calm in here can begin. Next, the rule that flips everything you've ever been taught about staying organized. Number 7. And this is the one 90% of you are looking at right now, somewhere in your own home, without realizing it. Every organizing show, every home blog, every January resolution tells you the same thing. Get better bins, label everything, buy the matching baskets that finally make the closet look like the ones online. In the West, organizing culture sells you more systems to manage your things. In Japan, the secret runs the opposite direction. Fewer storage solutions, not more. Not better bins, fewer belongings that need a bin in the first place. Where Western organizing asks, how do I store this? Japanese restraint asks, does this need to stay at all? What they discovered might surprise you. A perfectly organized closet full of things you don't need is still clutter. It's just clutter with better labels. The bins didn't solve the problem. They only made the problem easier to close the door on. This is the one idea that makes everything else on this list actually work. The empty corner, the single object, the missing furniture, the soft shadows. None of it survives if you keep buying containers to hide the excess instead of releasing it. And if you stay until the end, this next one ties every single item together, the rule underneath all the others. Number 8. Objects that change with the season. Think about your shelves right now. The framed photos that have sat in the exact same spot for 3 years. The decorative bowl by the door that hasn't moved since you unpacked it. In the West, we tend to decorate once, then leave it. Permanent displays, meant to look finished, meant to stay exactly as they are. In Japan, many homes do the opposite. A single alcove, called a tokonoma, might hold one seasonal item, a branch of cherry blossom in spring, a single maple leaf in autumn, and nothing else. When the season changes, the object changes with it. Nothing stays permanent on display for long. This is mono no aware, the gentle awareness of impermanence, finding beauty in things precisely because they don't last. The cherry blossom is beautiful partly because it will be gone within days. Its shortness is the point, not a flaw to work around. And this is the part that changes how you see everything else. Your home doesn't need more permanent decorations. It needs objects that are allowed to leave, so new ones and new seasons have somewhere to arrive. A shelf that never changes isn't peaceful. It's just frozen. Next, we step into the quiet space between rooms, the part of a Japanese home that isn't really a room at all. Number 9. The in-between space. In most Western homes, every room has a job. This room is for sleeping. This one is for eating. This one is for working or watching television or whatever the label on the door implies. There's rarely a space that exists for nothing at all. If it's not being used for something, it feels wasted. In Japan, traditional homes often include an engawa, a narrow wooden veranda that runs along the edge of a room, between the inside and the garden outside. It isn't quite indoors. It isn't quite outdoors either. It doesn't have a job. You might sit there with tea. You might just sit there. The engawa is ma again, but stretched into architecture, space that exists purely to let one thing become another, slowly. It's the pause between rooms, the breath between two full sentences. Most people never realize their own days have no equivalent, meeting to meeting, task to task, room to room with no in-between space to let one moment settle before the next one arrives. The result feels a lot like most Western homes, technically full and somehow still exhausting. You don't need a veranda. You need 5 unclaimed minutes between the parts of your day that aren't for anything and aren't apologized for either. Now, everything you've seen so far quietly points toward one rule. Save this next part for last, because it changes how you see all 9 items before it. 9 items in, and here's what's strange. Every single one of them, the empty corner, the single object, the missing furniture, the soft shadows, has been pointing at the same thing the whole time. Not a style, not a color scheme, something underneath all of it. Most people never realize this because they treat each item like a separate decorating choice. A rule for the kitchen, a rule for the lighting, a rule for the shelves. But that's not what's actually happening in a Japanese home. There's one rule holding every other rule together, quietly in the background the entire time. Once you see it, you won't be able to walk past a cluttered shelf, a too bright room, or a stuffed closet without noticing it again. Save this one for last, because it changes how you see everything before it. Here it is, the rule underneath every other rule. It's ma, negative space, the pause between notes, the silence that lets the rest of the room actually mean something. You've already met it 9 times without realizing it was the same idea, wearing 9 different outfits. The empty corner is ma, left alone in a room. The single object is ma, protected inside a drawer that refuses to fill up. The missing storage furniture is ma, built into the architecture so clutter has nowhere left to hide. The soft shadow is ma, resting in the light itself. The threshold is ma, standing guard at the front door. The rotating seasonal object is ma, moving through time instead of freezing it. The engawa is ma, stretched between 2 rooms so neither one has to hurry into the other. Every item on this list was the same discipline, applied to a different corner of the house, the discipline of leaving space alone. In the West, we're taught that empty space is a problem waiting for a solution. A blank wall needs art. A quiet room needs a television. A free hour needs a task. In Japan, that same emptiness is protected on purpose because it's doing something bright objects and busy schedules never could. It's giving you somewhere to actually land. Most people never realize this is the one habit that makes everything else on this list actually work. You can declutter for a decade. You can buy every neutral-toned pillow the algorithm suggests, but if you keep filling every pause, every corner, every free hour the moment it opens up, the calm you're chasing will always slip through your fingers. Your home was never missing decoration. It was missing permission. Permission to leave something, anywhere, alone. So here's something small to try. Not a redecoration, not a weekend project, just one corner. Pick the one place in your home you always feel the urge to fill, and this week, leave it alone. No plant, no lamp, no stack of anything, just space, protected, on purpose. Notice what it feels like to walk past it and not reach for something to put there. If any of this gave you even one thing to think about differently, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And subscribe, because every week we go deeper into the quiet wisdom Japan has been living for centuries. You can buy the matching furniture, the neutral palette, the diffuser on the shelf, but you don't need a home that looks calm. You need a home that's allowed to stay empty in the right places.